we're going to call the meeting to order and start with our land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that the ground on which we live is the traditional territory of Caldwell First Nation, of the Three Fires Confederacy, and the original people of Point Pelee Island and its surrounding lands and waters, and that of the Huron-Wendat and Wyandot peoples. We recognize and respect the First Nations who are stewards of the land and waters of Turtle Island and have embraced this stewardship since time immemorial. We would also like to acknowledge the contributions of other nearby First Nation communities and all original people across Turtle Island. We can get an adoption of the agenda for February 25th, 2025 for the Parks, Rec, and Events Committee meeting. Moved by Councillor Burns, support by Councillor Regis-Spagnolo. All in favor? And that carries. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Nope, there being none. We'll move into our adoption of our minutes from the Parks and Rec and Events Committee meeting dated November 26, 2024, be adopted as presented. Moved by Councillor Regis-Spagnolo, support by Deputy Mayor Acapata. All in favor? And that carries as well. Items for consideration. Item 1, the Spring 2025 Activities Update. Our Supervisor of Programming, Ms. Turnbull.
Thank you. Good evening, Your Worship and members of Council. Before you is the Spring 2025 Activities Update Report. We are in the midst of our winter programs currently. That will wrap up on March 24th of 2025. The spring programming will begin on Sunday, March 30th for aquatic programs and Monday, March 31st for recreation programming. Recreation programming for spring activities, registration for our spring activities will be taking place next week. Registration for LaSalle residents will be opening on Tuesday and for everyone on Thursday. Boat ramp passes will go on sale for LaSalle residents starting on Saturday, March 1st, and will open for everyone on April 1st. Dates for the opening of the outdoor amenities are outlined in the reports and are weather dependent. So the boat ramp and outdoor restrooms on April the 4th, sports fields on May 5th, the splash pad on May 16th, and the LaSalle outdoor pool on June the 29th. The event season's gearing up with many town-led events and third-party events as well. To highlight a few, within the spring, we have LaSalle Spring Fling, the LaSalle Night Market Series, Strawberry Festival, and many third-party events as well that our team is supporting. The events that are outlined in the report were those that had been confirmed prior to the date of my report of January the 24th. Facility closures and holidays are also outlined there, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Members of Council, do you have any questions? Deputy Mayor Capata.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, just about the splash pad. I had a question from someone who loves it, and they were trying to explain to me how we blow it out and all that stuff to make sure nothing freezes. I didn't want to say anything wrong, so I'm just looking for an update on the status of the splash pad and what we do to set it up for winter so it's good to go when these young children are ready to go.
Thank you for the question, Deputy Mayor. We do blow it out with air. I believe we put a bit of the, I don't know what the chemical is called exactly, in some of the low-lying areas of the pipe, and then when we go to start it up again, we kind of flush it all out for a certain period of time and make sure that that the water's good to go and pretty much open. Yep.
Supplemental, Your Worship. So we don't do anything different than we've done the previous year, and you don't see any reason, I'm not holding you to it, why it won't be open, because I got some very excited people who are chomping at the bit who saw some change in weather and actually send me a text just to ask.
No reason to think it won't open as it usually does.
Thank you, Worship.
Any other questions or comments? None? Okay, recommendation is that the report of the Supervisor of Programming dated January 24th, 2025 regarding the upcoming activities from March 2025 to July 2025 be received. Moved by Councillor Burns, supported by Councillor Regis-Spagnolo. All in favor? And that carries. Item 2, 2024 Annual Report of Joint Programs and Events between Culture and Recreation and Public Works. Our Manager of Culture and Recreation, Mr. Bison.
Thank you, Your Worship and members of Council. This report is similar to those that we bring each Parks Rec Events Committee meeting. Normally, the report is providing you an update as to the status of activities in the previous session. This particular report, usually in the first meeting of we look at the previous year. So this is a high-level summary of all the activities that took place in 2024. I'll start with programming. From a programming perspective, everything was relatively the same as in previous years. As I've mentioned, the last two Parks Rec Events Committee meetings, we're getting to the point now where we've kind of reached the sort of capacity, especially when we consider aquatics programming, but there was a slight increase of 3% when you look at registration in 2024 compared to 2023. One of the areas I think Ms. Turnbull's team is doing a really good job of is, even though we are nearing capacity, they are trying to continue to be creative and find ways to find room to continue to add people because we have a demand. Day camp is a good example, and I outlined it in the report. 2 years ago, they made some adjustments to, the utilization of some space within the building. We're able to free up enough space for us to add 500 camper days in 2023. And then last year, thanks to council approving our requested policy change with regards to refunds and waitlisting, we were able to avoid sort of many of the previous year's last-minute withdrawals where we'd have some vacant spots. So we were able to add another approximately 500 camper days in 2024 just by mitigating, some of the last-minute withdrawals we were having in previous years. Maybe one other thing I would mention is that there was a very small decrease in the number of people in aquatics programming in 2024, but that was entirely due to a decrease in the number of non-residents in our programs. The number of residents actually increased by 332. So, with regards to memberships, this is an area that we're seeing a lot of growth in. We continue to have new members joining the Volmer, which is fantastic, and we're very happy to have all of these people joining us. Last year, our revenue target, we surpassed that by 34%, and so far in 2025, that trend seems to be continuing, where we continue to see more members adding each week. To give you an idea, we are over 1,800 paid members right now. We have 850 plus free walking track members, and then we have almost 800 people who just have our 10, 11 pass memberships where they can come to a drop-in fitness class or skating or something along those lines. So in total, when you add up the members and the walking track and the different packages that we have available, you're getting pretty close to 3,500 total people. On the facility rental side, the demand continues to be really strong, and especially with things like ice, we just, during the highest prime time, there is not really anything available. But we did see some increases for soccer fields, and that was an increased just demand based on the LaSalle Stompers. Overall, the revenue was about 13% higher than it was expected to be for 2024. And when we look at sort of total estimated visits based on those rentals, it's probably around 220,000, just counting participants, not spectators. On the event side, we had nearly 220 event days, 220 event days in 2024. There were some new events, the Cars for a Cause event at the event center, the Wolfhead Strawberry Delicious event at the event center, and the NCG wrestling event, to name a few that were at the event center. And then obviously, as everyone would be aware, we also had the exhibit last year, which accounted for several of those event days. In total, when we looked at the third-party events we help facilitate at our facilities, and then the events we deliver ourselves, the visits were about 87,000. So, quite well attended, whether we're delivering it or it's being delivered by a third party. So we continue to see growth. We have a wonderful facility at the event center. I think as the town continues to improve the waterfront, we'll continue to probably see more and more people attend events, which is fantastic. And then I would just add, I think it's important to point out is when we talk about facility rentals, especially, and events, we get to interact with a lot of people in the community, but we also get a lot of people that come from outside of our community. And I think Councillor Riccio Spagnolo had mentioned at one previous meeting that we had a tournament and we had a lot of out-of-town people, and they commented on the quality of the facility, and we hear that very frequently, and we also hear that from our fitness members as well, especially our new members. So we appreciate the work that goes in from the Public Works team and the facility operators, and the Parks team, in keeping the facilities in good working order, and I think it helps a lot to increase our membership, have that demand for rentals, and of course the demand for new events as well. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Members of council, questions? Councilor Burns?
As a new member, I'm enjoying it. I want to commend Public Works and yourself for fixing the obvious hole at the front with a little bit of a patch there. But I do have concerns on the south side of the arena where you come in, that those the breakup of asphalt, especially around the drainage drums. They seem to have fallen 3 or 4 inches, and I just point that out, so hopefully in the spring something is done around those, and I will ask Rhodes where we're going at the regular meeting, because some of our roads are really breaking up, but I noticed that they're down, I would say 1.5 inches or so, and just a lot of seniors use that, so I would have some concerns with that, and I realize it wouldn't be done till spring, so thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Should we put that question, Councilor Burns, under the section F, and if you want as a separate question or a follow-up?
No,
It's just,
I know they're aware of it.
okay. All right, so if there's no other, okay, perfect. There's a recommendation that the report of the Manager of Culture and Recreation dated February 10th, 2025 regarding the summary of 2024 joint programs and events between Culture and Rec and Public Works be received. Moved by Councilor Richo Spagnolo, support by Councilor Burns. All in favor? And that carries. Any questions or statements from members of the committee? Okay. Councilor Richo Spagnolo?
Thank you, through you. Just a question that was posed to me a few days ago. So I mentioned to the residents that I would ask. One is, are we going to be revisiting Volmer dances again for those age groups? I think you did like the grades 7, 8s, 9s. That was one question.
Thank you for the question. Our experience with the dances in the past was that we had a number of security concerns that came forward as a result of those, and we stopped them during COVID, and we haven't revisited them because of those security concerns. It is difficult to manage large crowds of young people. We usually typically would take about 200 people in grade 6, 7, and 8, and we were starting to experience some challenges in terms of illegal substances and concerns with physical fighting and things of that nature, so we don't intend to bring those back at this time. However, if that is something council wishes, we could explore if there's some other opportunities on how we might better be able to manage.
Okay, thank you. Just now that we have security there, maybe it's something that we can revisit if it's something you think that would do okay, or at least do a trial run and see if it's worth it. The second question I have is, somebody actually approached me at the rink last week or the week before regarding our Zamboni, and asked if there's a sponsorship opportunity for that Zamboni, whether it's the Zamboni as well as rink A and B. I actually had somebody that was there that was interested in being, I guess I won't even say being, getting more information on the cost. So I just wanted to bring that forward to you.
Thank you for the question. We are working with somebody at this point in time who has reached out to that. So we don't have anything in place for that. So we're doing some research just to see what's available, what the options are. And we will be getting back to that interested party soon.
Any other questions or comments? I was wondering if it'd be possible to get an update on the multi-use trail at LaSalle Landing.
Certainly. Thank you for the question. As council is aware, early in January, we kind of put the project on hold for the months of January, February, and March. In that meantime, the contractor has been continuing to work on some of the interior stuff at the building. So good news is the building's almost ready to be handed over to us at some point in the next week or so. Further to that, the ice plant has been running for over 2 weeks now. It's been doing a great job with keeping the ice pad, the pad itself in a frozen state. It's been working wonderful these last couple days. In fact, today they've been rinsing off the pad with warm water in preparation for making ice later this week. So they are going to be looking at establishing ice and keeping that ice frozen. This will give us a good learning opportunity for how this system will work in weather like this and how far we can keep it into March and have quality ice. So it's been good so far. That's kind of the update. Again, in April, they plan to get back to the doing a lot of the heavy finishing out there with respect to the concrete and the remaining landscaping. So certainly we will give council an update once we get further into that weather permitting activities, and we will bring forward something at that point of when we could formally identify an opening day for the splash pad area and for the summer activities. And then certainly as we progress into the this year's fall and winter, we will start to identify when those opening dates for skating and all that will happen again. So that's a bit of the update today.
Thank you very much. Well, if there's no other questions or statements, no? Meeting adjourned. The next meeting is April 22nd at 4:30 p.m. Thank you.